Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we're going to do some more writing feedback. We have another IELTS writing academic essay task 2, and again we start by reading the question, analysing the question, thinking about our structure. Now let's see, I will mention that the last kind of 2, 3, maybe 4 writing tasks that I've got have been kind of off topic or not really fully addressing the question. I haven't read this one. When I do these writing checks, I don't read first and think about the mark. I like to do them live so you can see exactly, what I'm thinking. So I hope we have some positive comments for task achievement, or task response rather, because I don't like always giving negative comments about this, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? All of it is good data. Anyway, so let's have a look at this question. So in many countries, not everywhere, but in many countries, good schools and medical facilities. Okay, so it seems like we have two things here that we're focusing on. First is good schools. Oh, sorry about that. Good schools and medical facilities. Seems kind of strangely disconnected. Good schools and medical facilities are available only in cities. Okay, so that's something we should consider to be true. Even if we disagree with it, this isn't the place, right? This statement should be taken as true. Now, the debatable part. Some people think new teachers and doctors... Oh, I've seen this question before. Some people think new teachers and doctors should work in rural areas for a few years. No, I haven't seen this before. Some people think new teachers and doctors should work in rural areas for a few years, but others think everyone should be free to choose where they work. Okay, I've seen a similar question about doctors and whether they should have to stay in the country where they do their training, or if they should be free to choose where they work. I don't know if this is a real question. Maybe it is. It looks a little bit, it looks quite difficult actually. Good schools and medical facilities. So you have those two focuses, right? Education and medicine. And then we get teachers and doctors. There's a lot to cover in 250 words. Teachers and doctors should work in rural areas for a few years. That's one side. The other side is that everyone should be free to choose where they work. Yeah, it's an odd question. I haven't researched. I will research this question after I do this check to see if it's a legit question or not. But okay, discuss both views and give your own opinion. So, how are we going to break this down? Well, luckily, discuss both views and give your own opinion is one of the most common IELTS essay question types. It's also one of the easiest to deal with. We want an introduction. Now, in this introduction, we want some references either to education and medicine. Really have to cover both of those things. We can't just choose one. Some reference to this, or some reference to the difference between, what is available in the cities and what is available in the countryside. So some background information about this subject. Then some reference to the disagreement. Some paraphrase of this part. Also, I want some thesis statement. I want to see something like, in this essay, I will... and, a little paraphrase of this. In this essay, I will discuss both views. And also, I want to see what the candidate's position is. I want to know which side the candidate is on. Is the candidate on team A, that says new teachers and doctors should work in rural areas for a few years? Or is the candidate on team B that says everyone should be free to choose where they work? So I don't need to know the candidate's reasons for that, but I do need to know their position in the introduction. Then it gets easier, right? You get body paragraph 1, where you say why some people believe this is a good idea. And then body paragraph 2, why some people believe that this is a good idea. And then a conclusion, we will have a brief summary of your main ideas. And also, this is the place for you to restate your own opinion, to say which team you're on, and to say why you are more convinced by that side than the other side. Cool. But let's see what the candidate has given us. I have checked this. This is 318 words, and the reason I know this is because the candidate went over the word, over my ceiling, and I told the candidate to edit. So just to show you, 318 words. Again, for me, this is a little high, but it's the absolute maximum that I will check. Okay, paragraph, opening paragraph, body paragraph is longer. Okay, this body paragraph is too short already. Your body paragraphs should not be shorter than your introduction or conclusion. This body paragraph is 75 words, but the introduction is 78 words. Your introduction should not be longer than a body paragraph. Yeah. So you've got that balance wrong, unfortunately. Okay, conclusion looks relatively short. 59 words. Okay, suitable. Okay, so we do get 4 paragraphs. This body paragraph, like I say, is just too short. Think of shortening this, make this shorter, and then extend this one a little bit. But okay, let's have a look at the actual wording here. So, one of the most pressing and widely debated issues in contemporary society is getting a good quality education and medical facilities in rural areas. Okay, cool. This is a decent, a decent background bit of information. I don't know about getting medical facilities, like getting good quality education or getting access to good quality education and medical facilities might be slightly better. Maybe it's a little bit hyperbolic. Like, is it the most pressing and widely debated issues? Maybe not, but that's okay. The candidate is allowed to have this opinion. Yeah, so as an opening sentence, great. I like it very much. Some individuals assert that, okay, so we're just getting like a very blunt, direct paraphrase, right? Some people think, some individuals assert. So when you just try to find when your paraphrasing skills is just finding synonyms for individual words, it doesn't always come across well, but okay. Some individuals assert that teachers and doctors, comma, who are newly joined. I don't know what this means for, I kind of know what you mean, but this just doesn't sound natural. Newly joined. Oh, I'm a doctor. I'm a newly joined doctor. Newly qualified. Yeah, maybe it's just a problem with the word joined. Who are newly qualified. Should work in the village. So the village, no. Again, you're looking, then this is the problem with blunt paraphrases, right? We have rural areas, and the candidate has thought, okay, the village. The village is not a good synonym for rural areas. Village is one unit. It's one small part of the countryside. Villages are in the countryside. Villages are in rural areas, but rural areas aren't always villages. Okay, should work in the village. And again, this misuse of the article, which village, right? Which village? The village? Which village? For a few years. Okay, then we want full stop, however, comma. So we do have a problem with punctuation here. However, others contend that, oh, I like this, assert, contend, very academic in nature, really good stuff. Others contend that the choice of where to work should be left to the teachers. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Should be left to the teachers. We have some really nice passive infinitives here, passive modal, and a really natural construction. To have the choice of where to work should be left. Really, really good. We also have that question word plus infinitive. Good stuff. Should be left to the teachers and doctors. In this essay, cool, we get a thesis statement. I will thoroughly analyze. I don't know about thoroughly, just take it out. It's not academic. I will analyze, it's fine, both perspectives of the arguments problem and offer my all-in-all judgment. So I don't like this all-in-all as the modifier of judgment. Judgment is a bit odd. State your position, right? Instead of saying I will give my opinion, I will analyze both perspectives of the argument, I will analyze both perspectives and argue that the teachers, or explain why I believe, and then put forward, which side you are on. So you should state your position in the introduction, and you haven't here, unfortunately, you haven't stated your position. And we really want to see that. So yeah, that's a small thing you can improve immediately. Language is very, very good, though, I will say that. And all in all is an adverb. All in all, I like this introduction. It's just missing that stating the position. But okay. And that will affect, I'm not going to be too harsh with this, but as I've said before, there are some examiners that say, okay, if you're required to state your position, and in this essay, discuss both views and give your opinion. In this case, I know there are some examiners that will say, well, no, you don't meet the criteria of maintaining a constant position, or maintaining a clear position throughout. For me, discuss both views and give your own opinion. I'm not quite so harsh with that. But I know that there are some examiners for sure who will hate this lack of position and will cap that task response at a 5 or 6. Anyway, let's see. There are numerous factors that contribute to the belief that already I really, really dislike this sentence. First sentences in body paragraphs should be topic sentences. They should offer a very clear and easy to understand main idea of the paragraph. I already have to reread this. There are numerous factors that contribute to the belief that why many people say that newly joined doctors and teachers should work in rural areas for a few years. Let's count the clauses. There are numerous factors. There are numerous factors, clause 1, that contribute to the belief, clause 2, that why many people, clause 3, why many people say, clause 3, that newly joined doctors and teachers should work, clause 4. So you have just 4 clauses often linked with that in an opening sentence. It's too much, man. It's too much. And also, we don't say why some people believe. You only say that, there are numerous reasons why people believe da. Just go straight to this. One reason why people believe newly qualified doctors should work in rural areas is that da, and then build upon it. So we don't have a clear position, or we don't have a clear topic sentence here. Firstly, people in the villages, candidate has a systemic error with definite articles. Firstly, people in the villages will have access. This use of will, for me, absolutely fine. Will doesn't always refer to the future. It can refer to the present. I have no problem with this here. People in the villages will have access to medical care and education. Okay, I need to reread this. So, one reason, let's see. Firstly, people in the villages will have access to medical care and education, which they are deprived of normally. I don't see the argument here. Oh, maybe this is like an implied conditional. Maybe like if those people go to work in the villages, then they will have access to medical care and education, which they are normally deprived of, is the best word order. Again, we should have a space here. Candidate doesn't have a space. This is just laziness, I think. No capital letter, no space. Again, it's, to me, not as an examiner, but to me as a teacher, it just shows that the candidate's not really taking the work very seriously. Maybe the candidate doesn't really need IELTS that much and is doing it for fun, which is okay. It's fine. Okay, so there is a problem with this sentence, though. Make that conditional. If then it would be good for teachers and doctors who are new, they gain experience, new culture. Okay. The candidate that wrote this is not the same person that wrote that wrote this. That is that is two different producers of language, right? People who write things like others contend that the choice of where to work should be left to the teachers and doctors, that is not the same person that wrote it would be good for teachers and doctors who are new, they can gain experience, new culture, environment, and a new place. It's just not that. That's, when we look at, I shouldn't. No, I can't give too many details about what we look for in training. Too many details about what we look for in training when we're trying to identify something we call malpractice, cheating, basically. I can't. I'm not going to talk about that. Sorry. I'm just saying that looks very suspicious. It looks like two different people. This sentence is just very poor in terms of basic grammar. Sorry. Sorry. Finally, one of the primary reasons, isn't that odd? Finally means lastly. Primary means main or firstly, right? From the word primary, first school, primary school. Finally, one of the primary reasons, maybe it's okay. Finally, one of the primary reasons individuals tend to support it, don't like this, it is likely, okay, look at all of this, too much modality. Tend to, we have some modality here, is likely, some more modality here. It's too much. Reasons individuals tend to support it is likely due to, maybe it's okay. Due to the fact that, I like this, due to the fact that it's not always great in academic writing, the fact that is really wonderful for speech. It's okay in writing, it's not terrible. And I'm a fan of this type of grammar, due to the fact that a few of these doctors and teachers may choose to live permanently in those villages to serve humanity. I don't see your argument. In the whole body paragraph, let's try to find the argument here. Okay, one argument is that if doctors and teachers work in rural areas, people in the villages will have access to medical care and education. That's not the point. We know that, right? That isn't your argument to make. That is the idea. But the question is, should we force them to work there? Is that a good idea to make them work there? It seems a little bit too obvious that if teachers and doctors work in rural areas, people in rural areas will have teachers and doctors. It's almost circular. So I don't really see this first point that you make. At least I understand the point. I just don't find it persuasive. And that's not Glyn the examiner or Glyn the human or Glyn the person. Oh, I don't like the argument. No, it's that the writing lacks the quality of being persuasive. The second argument is that it would be good for teachers to get some new experience, a new culture, new environment, and a new place. Doesn't explain why it's good for them to, experience this new culture, new place, really. And then the last one, doctors and teachers may choose to live permanently in those villages. Again, I don't know if that's an argument for why we should make newly qualified doctors and teachers work in villages, because they might choose to live permanently there. I don't see the argument. So unfortunately, with this body paragraph, I can't identify like a main argument. Okay, let's get to body paragraph 2. On the other hand, good signposting language. Despite these arguments, okay, a significant number of individuals maintain the view. I don't know what it means to maintain a view. Maybe hold the view or just maintain that. Where to work should be decided by the doctors and teachers. Again, we're just repeating, right? So this is mentioned here. Others think everyone should be free to choose where they work. It's mentioned once in the question. You mentioned it another time in the introduction, which is good. The decision on where to work should be left to the teachers and doctors. And now you're just saying again, some people believe that the decision should be left to the teachers and doctors. In the body paragraph, we want to see your argument. We don't want to see that, there are people who believe that. No. We want to get straight into it, right? On the other hand, those with the opposing view believe that doctors and teachers should be free to work where they want because full stop, and then develop. We don't get that. Again, we get comma, capital it. So problems again with punctuation here. Again, this looks to be just laziness. It can be a rural area or an urban area. Okay, we understand what choice means. For example, some adapt a new culture. Adapt a new culture, or maybe adopt a new culture, or a new place is not easy for everyone. Okay, this grammatically, some adapt a new culture or a new place is not easy for everyone. So maybe it is not easy for everyone to adopt a new culture or to adapt to a new culture, maybe. So we have huge problems with this grammar. Then we get whereas. Okay, whereas the lack of instruments in hospital and lack of facilities in schools. So we get like just this dependent clause. So we get a dependent clause, whereas the lack of instruments in hospital and lack of facilities in schools discourage them and they are not used to it. We only have a dependent clause here. We don't have an independent clause. So this really isn't a full sentence. Again, paragraph is short. Don't really see. I see one central idea that I have to kind of work out, that it is not easy for everyone to adapt to a new culture or a new place. So I see kind of a central argument, but I don't really see a lot of development. Okay, that can discourage them. Okay, and again, I can infer the argument that perhaps, maybe doctors and teachers won't be happy working in those places because of the lack of facilities. But it's not mentioned. Yeah, I have to work this out myself as a detective, and that's not what I want to do as an examiner. I want the candidate to present the arguments, to present the position, and I want to understand that from the writing. I don't want to read the writing and then sit and think, oh, well, maybe they mean this, or probably they mean this, or I think what they're trying to say is this. I shouldn't have to interpret what's written. In conclusion, good signposting language. Will we get a summary of the positions here? It will be acknowledged that, again, I don't think we need this, do we? In conclusion, selecting the proper workplace where doctors and teachers should work has evolved into a highly complex issue. Okay, we don't really have time for this, right? We just want to get into, we don't need to mention that it's a complex issue. I just want a summary of the main points for which there are no straightforward solutions. Again, this isn't a summary of your main points. Full stop, not a capital letter. Again, bit of laziness with the punctuation here. It could be a win-win situation for both perspectives. Okay, again, I can kind of work out, but what could be? What could be a win-win situation for both perspectives? Despite this argument to the contrary, which argument to the contrary? What am I missing here? I firmly believe that it would be better to have a government rule. I haven't seen your opinion here, apart from it would be better. So this is your opinion. It would be better to have a government rule. The essay asks you to give your opinion. Is it better? Is this better? Or is this better? You only say it would be better to have a government rule. You don't say what that rule is. You don't pick a side. So again, unfortunately, we have task response 4. Coherence and cohesion. I don't really love this short paragraph, but okay, we get 4 clear paragraphs. We get lots of signposting language. range of bit of punctuation problems with these connectives, but we get some however, we get some firstly, we get some finally. That signposting language does help to make a cohesive text, both internally in paragraphs and between paragraphs. So the cohesion is not bad in terms of the language, the cohesive language that's used. But the cohesion of the ideas I find sometimes a little bit strange. Yeah, but I think, enough for a 6. Could an examiner give a 7? Perhaps, maybe. But for me, coherence and cohesion, 6. It hangs together relatively well. Candidate uses a variety of connectives and signposting language, but internally, I'm not sure that, ideas flow from one to the next. Usually you want topic sentence, and then you want an explanation of the topic sentence, and then you want some type of example to support that, and then some type of tie back. And we don't get that flow. We get like one point, another point, another point. Yeah, so for me, internal cohesion inside the paragraphs, not great, and that's why it's a 6, not a 7 or an 8. Okay. Lexical resource. This is going to be really, really tricky because I do think the candidate maybe has chosen to get a little bit of assistance, perhaps from outside sources, shall we say, but I don't know. Newly joined, I don't like. I think newly qualified is better. This adding thoroughly and all in all judgment is a little bit odd, like judgment. There is some really good stuff, like assert is great, contend, very academic in nature. Medical care. Do we have that medical care in the question? No, medical facilities. So medical care, cool. Villages, okay. Gain experience, that's fine. I don't know about gain culture. That's a bit odd. Maintain the view, just a little bit. A number of individuals maintain the view that, maybe it's okay, actually. Knowledge, selecting. So there's definitely some good vocab there. In terms of range, there's probably enough range for a band 8, believe it or not. Enough range for a band 8, but the accuracy... Yeah, the accuracy is probably at a 6. And so overall, I'm going to give band 7 for lexical resource, which again is odd, right? You get 4 for task response, 7 for lexical resource. I definitely think it's very, very rangy, not always precise and accurate. So yeah, maybe band 7 for lexical resource. Grammatical range and accuracy, I'm giving a 5. At times, there is amazing range, but we do have like really, really odd sentences, like it would be good for teachers and doctors who are new, they gain experience, new culture. This type of grammar is like, okay, that's a 2 in terms of its grammar. Really bad cases of like punctuation and not capitalizing letters, not using full stops sometimes. So yeah, that pulls the score down to 5. There are some aspects of the grammar which are definitely at band 7, and then there are other aspects of the grammar that are closer to a 3 or a 4. So yeah. Okay, so overall we get 4, 5, 6, 7. Another 5.5. So overall, this comes out as 5.5, right on that border between upper intermediate and intermediate, that border between B1 and B2. And I feel that's kind of where the candidate's writing is. Definitely a lot of really, really good vocab. Cool, topic-specific vocab. Not always accurately used, but vocab is great. Again, the thing, task response. So many candidates just... This is happening now every week. But it will give me ideas for future videos, I'm sure. And hopefully for those people who watch these videos, there aren't many of you that stick around to the end. But for those of you that watch, it should be really instructive for you. If I was an IELTS candidate watching, my content, I would be thinking like, okay, I'm watching all of these candidates sending all of these writing tasks, and everyone is scoring poorly in task response. I'm going to make sure that I work on my task response, because what we often see with IELTS, of course, is you do your writing, you get your mark back, but you don't always see, unless you specifically ask for the breakdown, you don't always see where you're going wrong. And so you might think like, oh, my vocab isn't good enough or my grammar isn't good enough. Whereas in reality, you just don't know how to read and understand a question or how to respond and stay on topic. Yeah, so advice to this candidate is, yeah, you have to fix this very basic thing of how to stay on topic, and that's it. This, you know, if you have a teacher, they can work on that with you. The teacher should be able to give you much more simplified tasks where you just have to write a body paragraph, and they can monitor, they can brainstorm with you, they can see which of your ideas are on topic, which are off topic, and things like this. But yeah, task response unfortunately will hold you back. So as I mentioned, for me, be right on that border between B1, B2, 5.5, good vocab, but again, just bad in terms of essay technique. If you agree or disagree or have any comments about my marking, please do let me know, as you sometimes do. And if you would like your own free practice writing, oh, sorry, if you'd like your own writing check, if you'd like me to check your writing and give you this type of feedback, or if you'd like a free IELTS practice speaking test with feedback, you can request this on my Telegram channel, Expert Examiner. A link to this Telegram channel is given below. And it doesn't matter how many times I say this, the most common comment I get is, how do I get a speaking test or a writing check? But it's the internet. It's the internet. Have a wonderful evening. See you all soon. Bye for now.